Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, they say be careful of the enemy within, and Goodluck Jonathan really has to take the blame for this one, because throughout his regime really he surrounded himself with people who do not particularly like him and who especially do not trust him and who really hold him in disdain. He surrounded himself with northerners and he acceded to all of their requests, thinking that acceding to the northerners is what is going to keep him in power. But then of course they just continue to ride him until they rode him out of power. Guys, I bring you this. Dasuki denies campaigning for Buhari against Jonathan in 2015. So now I had done a video a couple of weeks ago, maybe by about 2 weeks or so ago, where somebody was narrating the relationship between Dasuki and Buhari, and saying that Dasuki was actually the intermediary that introduced Buhari to Tinubu, and they are going back as far back as 2010-2011, where these people have had this political alliance. By these people, of course, I'm talking about, of course, Dasuki and Buhari. So again, the headline: Dasuki denies campaigning for Buhari against Jonathan in 2015. So now let's now see what manner of denial is dishing out. A former National Security Advisor (NSA), Colonel Sambo Dasuki, retired, yesterday denied reports that he discreetly campaigned for the All Progressive Congress (APC) and its candidate, President Muhammadu Buhari, whilst serving President Goodluck Jonathan as NSA in 2015. Dasuki said as the NSA between 2012 and 2015, he never campaigned for the APC or Buhari in whatever shape or form before, during, or after the 2015 presidential election. In a statement yesterday, the former NSA said he was only involved in the unsuccessful attempt at forging an alliance between the Action Congress of Nigeria (ACN), All Nigeria People's Party (ANPP), and the Congress for Progressive Change (CPC) prior to the 2011 elections. He noted that at the point of his accepting the appointment to serve as the NSA in 2012, he told Jonathan that he had a relationship with Buhari of CPC, Senator Bola Tinubu of ACN, and Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu of ANPP, amongst other opposition elements, and that his appointment would not cause him to sever the relationships. Dasuki, amongst others, was said to have introduced Buhari to the then leader of ACN, Tinubu, on the planned political alliance prior to 2011 presidential election. It was also alleged that Dasuki, Malam Adamu, the current Minister of Education, Malam Kabir Yusuf, the publisher of Daily Trust, and Mr. Wada Meida, former chief executive of the news agency of Nigeria (NAN), visited the APC national leader in Lagos before the 2011 elections. Dasuki said, "My attention has been drawn to a false report to the effect that I discreetly campaigned for Buhari and his party, APC, whilst I was serving as President Jonathan's National Security Advisor. At first, I found the report too ridiculous to take serious, but on second thought, I felt it would be appropriate not only to debunk it, but to put the record straight, especially in view of politics of mischief and character assassination that is unfortunately the norm today. The truth is that I was involved in an attempt at forging an alliance between the ACN, ANPP, and CPC, amongst others, prior to the 2011 elections, which was not successful. My involvement in that political process ended after the elections of 2011. At the point of accepting the appointment to serve as National Security Advisor (NSA) in 2012, I made it clear to President Jonathan that I had relationships with General Buhari of CPC, Tinubu of ACN, and Onu of ANPP amongst other opposition elements, and that my appointment would not cause me to sever the relationships. I, however, assured him that I would never betray him. As a man of honor, I kept my words. Therefore, as NSA between 2012 and 2015, I never campaigned for APC or its candidate Buhari in whatever shape or form before, during, or after the 2015 presidential election. I never worked at cross purposes with my boss, President Jonathan, as being recklessly insinuated by mischief makers on their blogs and social media. So mischief makers, so I am of course a mischief maker too, but then of course that mischief is pointing really in the direction of the truth, because of course there was always treachery aligned with this guy. There were several instances that this guy could have stopped Buhari in his tracks even before the 2015 election, because in that build up to that 2015 elections, Buhari was using some extremely violent language to heighten up the polity within the Nigerian space. You will recall then that he was coming up with phrases that the monkeys and the baboons and the dogs will soak in their blood and all this kind of. So he was whipping up ethnic sentiment, he was whipping up religious sentiments, and he was whipping up jingoism, and he was whipping up all these high octane callings to like a particular sector within his own following to try and force his way through in some sort of a bullying way, and they did succeed in bullying Goodluck Jonathan out of power, by the way. But then, of course, Goodluck Jonathan was too meek for that position. When he appointed Jega as the chairperson for INEC, a Northern Fulani man, and then he has his NSA, a Northern Fulani man, and his DSS, a Northern. So he surrounded himself by these Fulani people, and then he's rallying them to come and fight their fellow Fulani man. It's as though that man is a foreigner in Nigeria. He doesn't understand the politics of the place, so he just gave it up. Really, I think he was just glad to come out of the place with all this at least as a full human being, if you get my meaning. I don't want to impute anything, but you know how these people operate. This guy was completely surrounded by Fulanis, and he was constantly bullied all the way through his regime. He was bullied, but then of course this guy betrayed him. There's absolutely no question about that. But then he was paid back, of course, in his own coin by Buhari, who is a notoriously vindictive and a vengeful man, and who had been carrying a grudge against him since the 80s, when Dasuki arrested him then during a coup plot. So now this is now the going on now, is this obfuscation, this boju sort of tricks, trying to rewrite history and repaint what we already know. We all, of course, know that this guy betrayed Goodluck Jonathan, because when Buhari was making those threats, by the way, Dasuki could well, within the remit of his position, arrest him to say that no, you are threatening the peaceful coexistence of this country, and you are making comments to inflame and excite elements to violence. So he could have gone down that route, and they could have arrested Buhari. They could have run the election. Buhari would have gone to court, and the case would still be in court by now. He would have huffed and puffed, and his people would have rioted in their region, and that would have quelled down, and would have moved on. But then he, of course, wanted that power to transit to Buhari as well, because as he said, he had been campaigning for Buhari since 2011, probably earlier. So this was the guy that introduced Buhari to Tinubu, by the way. So if you were wanting Buhari to be president in 2011, what's then changed between 2011 and 2015 that you no longer then want Buhari to be president? And Goodluck Jonathan, if you knew that Dasuki was campaigning for this guy, then why on God's own earth would you appoint him as your NSA? It's like some sort of like self-mutilation. It's like self-harm, this sort of thing that this Goodluck Jonathan was doing. But he was doing like a gentleman. He was trying to be civilized with these people. These people are no gentlemen, and they are not civilized, and he soon felt the sharp end of that. Conversations in the comment section that Suki is now trying to tell us that he did not campaign in 2015 2015, even though he campaigned for him 4 years prior in 2011. Are you buying this? I am not, but whatever your take is, come share it with me in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Click on like as well, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Once you've done all three, come join me in the comment section to see how we can evolve this conversation. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.